Hey everybody, this is Jason Fabok from Ghost Machine Productions, and you're watching the Bat Fanatic podcast.
Listen up, Gotham. This is Batman. Tune into the Bat Fanatic podcast with Sammy Warmhands.
Hey everybody, it's the Dark Knight of Rap, Sammy Warmhands, and this is the Bat Fanatic podcast. As always, I've got my co-host Slam Dunk Dave, Grandpa Batman, and familiar face of the show, Grumps himself, also from the Bat Force. And today we're doing another Bat Fanatic Friday. We're over on YouTube talking about our favorite comic book movies. But first I want to shout out our brand new sponsor, nerdcrawler.com. They're an online marketplace for sketches, original art, and signed books from all your favorite comic creators like Art Germ, Frank Cho, and many more. You can get a free account on nerdcrawler.com and use our code BATFAN for $10 off your first order of $100 or more. That's good through the end of this year, 2025. So check out Nerdcrawler, and we're going to kick this shit off by talking about all of our favorite comic book movies. So how are you guys doing? First of all, I want to welcome Gramps. Grumps and Gramps. Holy shit. Blah, blah, blah. I got mush mouth. I want to welcome Grumps to the show, who is now a permanent member. Yes?
Yay.
Yay.
Fuck yeah. Expanding the cast. I love it. So now we've got Oregon, New York, Texas, and also New York, upstate New York.
Upstate, yeah.
Yeah.
Boonies.
That's cool, man. I'm glad that you're here.
I'm happy to be here. Sorry I missed the last one.
You son of a bitch. It's okay. We got new co-host and we got new sponsor, and I got our fancy new backdrop going on here.
Nice.
And, trying to spruce things up a little bit for YouTube. But
Is Batman watching us in the background?
yeah, he's creeping, He's keeping an eye on things. I modified our little logo with that backdrop I've been using for Instagram to keep everything nice and consistent with the branding and all that. I want to throw out a plug really quickly because today, the day we're recording this, April 7th, is the 10-year anniversary of my first book.
Nice.
And the album that came out the same day, Famous Last Words. So I'm celebrating that today. It's, a snapshot into my early life as a musician and how I came to be where I am today. So yeah, Take 92 Music is the way to find it, take92.com. If you want to read about my history or listen to some of the stuff, you can look up Sammy Warmhands on Spotify, and you'll get a remixed, remastered version of this album available right now. So just throwing that shit out there. And what's good with you guys? Gramps, are you healing? Are you recovering?
Yes, I've been sucking on Ricolas. Ricola is now our new sponsor as well. Ricola.
This is not true,
Ricola.
but I'm also
Ricola.
a fan. Yeah.
That's not true. Ricola's not sponsoring us, but they did save my life.
Why were you taking Ricola? You didn't get
Dude,
measles down there, did you? I hear that's making a comeback.
Yeah.
I don't go into Buc-ee's, so I'm not getting the measles.
Yeah, mine is just because I've been screaming all day. I'm trying to finish a punk album, and every day I'm trying to bust out another song, but there's like 17 songs, so I've been doing a lot of screaming. Keep losing my voice and having to take a week off.
Yeah. No, I've been on my deathbed. So that Ricola, I love it. It really soothes the throat. You know what I'm saying?
They're also needed at cons because, you'd be surprised. Like, you talk over so many people that your throat gets really dry really quickly. So, another item that's needed when you go to cons is some cough drops or Ricola.
Yeah, me and Kevin from Comic Sketch Art were definitely hooking each other up with the Ricola. He got me in Portland, and I got him in Orlando because, you lose your voice so fast when you're talking all day long. All right, guys. So I'm just coming up with some different stuff that'd be fun to talk about. Gramps had the first topic last time, Bat Fanatic Friday. We did what did we do the first time? Oh, what are you reading? Yeah, we talked about what's on my poll and some of the other books we've been reading. And today, I thought because there was a mention on the last episode. There was a mention where I was like, yeah, and this is one of the best comic book movies ever or whatever. And then there was just this deafening, hostile silence from Gramps. And we had a laugh about that. And I was like, it'd be fun. Let's all just blindly make our own picks and talk about it on the show. So that's what we're going to do. And I guess we're going to start from number 5 and we'll go around up to number 1. So let's see. Since you're the one with such highbrow taste, such a refined palate, Gramps, I want you to start and tell us comic book movies in general. We're talking live action. What is your number 5 favorite go-to flick?
Well, I love that my silence is actually deafening. But
yeah, it's deeply offensive too.
And, I have to preface that if I sound extremely intelligent and highbrow tonight on this recording, it's because I'm sitting in my new chair from Sharper Image.
Oh my
God.
God.
The chair of tomorrow.
No more squeaking on my edits. Thank you.
And I'm feeling so sharp tonight. So
he's going to bring out the pipe.
And we're starting from 5 down to our top, right? Okay.
Yes. Yeah. We're going to go bottom up. And, this list is just for fun, by the way, because it's impossible to do this.
Just the way I like to.
Can't
quantify. This is just for fun. And these are opinions. And I think we all should respect everyone's opinions. But I want to know some of the rules first, right? I mean, because this was
Here's
top
the rules.
5 comic superhero movies, right?
I mean, yes, but I just want to say that I left a lot of freedom because it's an individual list. It's for the sake of discussion. What I didn't want to do is be like, your top 5 Batman movies, because then we'd all just be repeating the same shit in different order, and that wouldn't be fun. And so for me personally, I'm not repeating characters. I kind of picked my favorite of various places, right? Because it'd be too easy to make mine only Batman. So I didn't impose that rule on anyone else. The only rule I imposed was that it's all live action and they're feature films, theatrical films. So
feature films. Okay.
Yes. Right. So that's my general guideline for this.
My next rule that I'm curious about, is it comic before movie or movie before comic? Or is it kind of loose there?
I see. You're
talking about before movie.
You're talking about RoboCop, aren't you? Because there's RoboCop comics that came later.
I can't pick Scarface?
No, it doesn't count.
Damn it.
I mean, again, you can make your own list however you want, but that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Everyone has their own rules somehow.
Yeah. And again, like I said this off air, but I love lists. And, if I'm on Reddit and people will be like, oh, yeah, what's your top 5, top 10, whatever. I like that stuff, but sometimes it takes me so fucking long to come up with, because I can't cut anything. I love so many things, and it's really hard. And it's like, I feel like I'm etching it in stone and giving it to Moses, but like, it's just a fucking internet video that no one's going to remember in 3 days. So I try to just, go with it and let it
now
happen.
that you've run my pick, I'm going to go with another one. Then.
See, I knew exactly what you meant by by comic first.
I'm going to go with The Crow.
Okay.
Because
solid.
I mean, that movie, it invokes a lot of, it's just badass. And I mean, it doesn't have to be, anytime it's showing, I'm going to stop and I'm going to watch it. And also it's one of those movies where I kind of have a little tradition with the Bat Force Times. You got to watch it in October. And closer to Halloween, even better. Even on Devil's Night, it's even better. But even that soundtrack, dude, soundtrack is just amazing. Brandon Lee was amazing. Rest in peace.
Yeah, that's so insanely fucked up. Like, for anyone that doesn't know, died during the making of the film.
The tragedy of his death while filming just adds to the lore of the movie itself.
Sure.
It's just such a powerful movie. And so, yeah, that's my number 5. Beat that.
All right. I wanted to say that I actually saw that movie like way back when, and I haven't seen it as an adult. So I'll have to revisit that now.
It still holds. It's one of those movies that, I mean, yeah, it there's parts of it that seem a little dated. Some of the effects seem a little dated, but it still holds for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. The Crow.
Okay, Dunk, what do you have at number 5?
Oh, this is it was tough, of course, and similar to like Gramps, he was jumping around with different rules. I was kind of doing the same, but my basic rule was the comic book came out first,
right,
and then the movie came out afterwards. I was joking about Scarface. That was the joke I was going to keep for later on, but that's over with.
That's me. I'm spoiling all your guys' shit.
But my number 5, I have to go with the first Transformers.
Wow.
And the reason I picked that one was because I remember like before I went to grammar school, like most mornings, I used to watch like the Transformer cartoon,
right,
in 3D and whatever, in the small ass like 10-inch screen TV, and running over. And I remember, I think I was in college, where I dragged my girlfriend at the time to go watch it. And the moment that you see the Transformer thing and you hear like roll out, I lost my mind. I remember how cool that was. And that's my number 5 because of the way I felt when the movie released. And I was like, wow, we're going to get more. And then, then the franchise took off. So I'm going to go with Transformers, the first one, because then after that, it just got ridiculous. And I just loved watching it still. You got the Bumblebee movie that followed and all the other fun stuff. You had, what's her face?
Was Megan Fox in the first one?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was solid. I was like,
also
wow.
haven't seen any of those movies. I liked the cartoon in the 80s.
Wait a second.
Go.
You're talking about the live action? Oh my God. I thought you were talking about like the 1980 whatever.
Yeah, this is all live action.
No, not that one.
Dunk's dropping Michael Bay on the list right now.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Well, so much fun watching that.
I love the fact that they stayed true to the comics, and they had what's his name, Peter Cullen as the voice for Optimus.
Oh, that's cool,
dude. He is so awesome.
That was like the goosebump moment where it's like, wow.
What? When you hear that voice, you're like, that is Optimus Prime.
So, I think it's fair to say that nostalgia ranks pretty high with you when you're making this list.
Yes.
Okay. So, Grumps.
Yes.
New man on the show. We're putting you to the test right now. This is your first duty. The Bat Fanatic podcast. So what's your number 5 on comic book movies?
Number 5 is same as Gramps, The Crow.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, the Crow with Brandon Lee, not whatever Abomination came out recently. Or, I mean, those they have not been able to get that, right since Brandon Lee. What a great movie, man. There's some great lines, some great scenes. The tragedy that happened is absolutely heartbreaking. But man, what a way to go, right? Like,
right.
Like everybody loves that movie.
So what's your pitch on The Crow? Like, what could you compare it to, Grumps and Gramps here, for someone who hasn't seen it before, like me?
Well, it's about Eric Draven, up and coming rock musician, who he and his fiance are brutally murdered the night before their wedding, and it's actually a love story.
Yeah,
but in the most twisted way, where this spirit of the Crow gives him one night of redemption to undo the wrong that was done to him and his fiancée.
Okay.
and boy, does it.
So is there an element of time travel then? Like he goes back to change it?
It's the supernatural of bringing the dead back to life in this one night. And
he goes ham.
This crow, I mean, I've even, spoiler alert for our next, what are you reading?
Oh, cool.
The Crow is not just the one book that was written, the comic book that was written by O'Barr. It was an ongoing tale. It's kind of a generational story where this spirit of this crow, and I think it kind of, it's a Native American lore where the crow will bring a soul back into the living world for, to undo the wrong that was done to them in life.
It's a redemption.
And
that's what Peter Weller would say. Every great story is redemption.
Right. So, yeah, that's basically what it is.
Nice. All right. So we're going to, I guess mine. I didn't go
what's
yet.
Yours, dude?
I was gonna say, we're going to get to number 4. No. All right. So number 5 for me, this is a film that we reviewed on the show with this cast this season, V for Vendetta. I think that is a damn near perfect fucking movie. And as we read the book when we were doing the review, and I actually read for the first time the Absolute Edition, and I felt like the changes they made actually improved it, which is so rare in these adaptations. And so, yeah, I think that is much like the famous quote, that movie is bulletproof. It's just fucking great. And it's so relevant today, too.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, my gosh, is it relevant today?
Yeah. Yeah, and even more so since we even recorded that episode. I've been thinking about it just the other day. I was like, oh, my God. I think I reposted something that Grumps had shared because, I repost my, socially conscious stuff on my personal page, but I a lot of times take stuff that Grumps puts up and send it to myself and repost it. And one of them, I was like, this is some V for Vendetta shit, man. Like, they're disappearing motherfuckers off the street in plain clothes and masks and shit. I was like, oh my God, that's like Creedy's black bag, man. Holy fuck.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, V for Vendetta.
Very solid choice. That was actually one of my fringe choices. I was like, this top 5, it's pretty tough.
It's hard.
But we got to go with the movies that, like you said, evoke the emotions and the personal ties and the love for the story and stuff. So, yeah, solid choice, man.
Yeah, and I think that we've talked about, we always argue about our ratings at the end of these episodes, and I did the same thing with Ben and Evan, and it's fun to do, but I always grade top down, kind of like I'm doing a paper in school, and like I'm subtracting if there's anything that I have a grievance with. And my list are all movies that I don't have any, like if we did pros and cons, I don't really have any cons, So that's kind of how I'm thinking about it as well. Gramps, you want to lead into number 4? We'll keep it going.
Number 4, I'm going to go with Spider-Man from 2002 with Tobey Maguire.
Fuck yeah.
That movie right there, bro, it showed, it was just a huge jump in the CGI technology for filmmaking. And really, I mean, I think that's one of the reasons why they kind of stayed away from Spider-Man. Grumps, now you got both of us on the show, so you're going to get hit from both sides. We got this G&G tag team going on. Grumps
tag
really
team me, boys.
Yeah.
Me
and Grumps, I swear, man, it's like we were, formed in the womb together. We both love Spider-Man 77 TV series, bro. And I love it. I just found the DVD of the whole collection of it. And and it's pretty good quality. I think it was recorded off someone's VCR, but it's good enough to watch. It's better than the YouTube. But that character, man, is it's so complicated to try to do in a live action way because he's swinging and he's just, everything about Spider-Man you can see on the 77 series is like they tried, but man, that was 1977. And that's what makes it so great.
Yes. They tried in everything in the 70s.
Oh, when you saw that trailer for Tobey Maguire 2002, when that hit, you were like, what in the world?
Saturday morning.
And the other thing about that is that, okay, so Raimi is a brilliant visual director. People say that about Zack Snyder. He's a visual director. I was already a fan of The Evil Dead by the time I saw Spider-Man. And I've seen every Spider-Man opening night in the theaters. Happy, proud to say that. And when that movie came out, it had all of the great upgraded VFX shots that we'd never really seen before. Like Gramps is saying, it had all of the cool, weird influences, especially in the second one with the Doc Ock operating table scene and shit like that were Raimi's MO. But Spider-Man is always a tragedy. And those movies are so much about the relationships and like that, just this, no pun intended, this web of relationships, because every Spidey villain is somehow connected to his personal universe and everything. And like, they just fucking nailed it. And I'm going to throw this out there that I've been sleuthing around message boards and tracking down some fan edits of movies.
Ooh.
And one of them that I got was Spider-Man 3. Because forever I have dreamt of a version of Spider-Man 3 where they cut it down to just the Sandman stuff and leave out the Venom. Because as much as I was clamoring for Venom, I was one of those fans like, oh, please give us fucking Venom in the second one. No, please give us Venom in the third one, right? But then the studio made him insert that into the third movie where he already had a full arc. Dude, they cut 40 minutes out of that movie, and I didn't miss a thing. I watched it the other night with my wife, and I was like, dude, this is fucking great.
Did they still have the part where he's the bad boy?
No.
Peter Parker, and he's like,
oh.
No. They cut out all of that stuff. There's only a couple of moments where he like does kind of have his hair swoop down.
Yeah.
But, and that's like the only thing that he's cutting around existing footage that, there's only so much he can do.
Right.
But aside from like kind of a clunky intro and outro, it's very good. And I'm also remember when we reviewed Joker 2? I said the same thing. I was like, I hope there's a fan edit somewhere of this movie with no musical sequence. And I think I found one. So I'm working on that too. But yes, back to Spider-Man for number 4. That's an excellent pick.
Thank you. Yes, I mean that movie, like you said, Spider-Man is one of those characters that you're as much invested in the Peter Parker, the alter ego, as you are the superhero side too.
Yes,
and I thought that they did a great job. I thought Tobey Maguire was the perfect actor for that role. That's my Spider-Man. I don't care about the new guy. But
I love them all personally. Like my favorite actor in the role is Andrew Garfield. I think he's awesome, especially in the suit. But
he was good.
I love them all. Dave, what do you got at number 4?
Oh man, the beginning of the MCU, my friend. Let's go with Blade.
Oh my God! I thought you were gonna say Iron Man.
No, he's going OG.
I mean,
let's
I guess
go with Blade. Peak Wesley Snipes, dude. That era, like Wesley Snipes was in every single movie, and then Blade came out, and it was like vampires. I was a kid. Vampires are kind of cool.
Yeah.
And Blade and then Wesley Snipes was like in all these movies, and I had no idea what Blade was. And I remember watching that first scene. All the blood everywhere from the sprinkler system.
Yeah, that's gnarly as a kid.
Like, wait, what? Oh man! And then he was brought back recently, and I'm like, That's all I thought about. I was like, that was sick. that was so sick. I just bought the first appearance of Blade about a couple of weeks ago, and I'm like, if I could find Wesley Snipes, I would love to get this song. So it was just fresh in my mind that I had to put it up there because that was. I just watched the beginning. I just legit watched the beginning of that scene like 2 weeks ago, just to watch the beginning. That's it. I was like, all right, that was sick. I'm like, wow. Whatever age I was when that movie came out, that was way too great to watch. I'm so happy my parents bought that bootleg on that VHS and had me watch it.
I'll have to watch that again too. See, this is good. This is why I didn't put any specific parameters on here so that we would all come from different places, you know. Grumps, what do you got for number 4?
I just want to say that's a great choice, Dave. That's a great movie, Blade. Number 4, man. This is
Spider-Man 2002.
Superman 2.
Superman 2.
Nice. 2. Not the Donner cut because
son of a bitch.
I actually haven't seen that yet.
Okay.
I gotta watch it. But man, that was just as a kid, like
Suicidal Lois.
Superman, fighting
drowning in the river,
fighting the other Kryptonians, and
yeah.
I mean,
that was
amazing. And the scene and I don't know, I think it was the diner after he got rid of gave him his powers and he got beat up. Dude, I remember how I felt watching that. Like,
I don't know if you listened to our episodes on Superman 2, both versions, but we talked so much about that fucking scene.
I gotta listen to it.
It's great. I love that scene. One of the rare movies where the sequel is probably better than the original, because a lot of times with these big blockbuster franchises, they let the director build his vision in the original one.
Yeah.
And then the studio gets involved and you get all these producers and it gets corporate and commercial. And by the second one or the third one, it's just trash. But Superman 2, I mean, I know we're talking like, early 80s.
1980.
Yeah.
That was, and they filmed it simultaneous. So that probably helped, although the studio did get in there and interfere with Donner and stuff like that. But
yeah, what you're describing is everything that started.
Well, yeah, no,
with
exactly.
That
That's
movie.
exactly what happened. But
some things don't change.
But that movie there is probably one of the rare ones where the theatrical version is probably better than the original.
Yeah,
my humble.
I don't agree with you there, opinion. But what I will say is that the first movie being, as we said on those episodes, it's such a fucking long, linear origin story that you don't even get Superman for like the first hour or something. And so I totally get why, especially for rewatch value, the second one is more fun, because there's just more shit happening. And again, you get the iconic Zod that we barely got in the first one, So I get it.
And I love the first one, but I forget how physical he was in that movie, if at all. This was like, these were physical threats to him.
Yeah, he had no supervillains to fight in the first one, only earthquakes and helicopters and falling debris and stuff. So yeah, it's totally different setting. Cool. Well, for me, I think I've said this on the show before, but last week was the 35th anniversary of the first Ninja Turtles movie, 1990. And
hell yeah.
That specific version being the like dark and gritty New York City, man, like as a kid, it blew me away. It was even scary at times, like with Shredder and they're taking the cape off to see all of his blades and shit sticking off of him, and just the way that he talks, and he's got all these runaway kids, and just like his voice is so commanding. He's got Splinter all emaciated, chained up over there, like, it's crazy. You got Raph going on his angry fucking sulky walks on the roof, and like Casey Jones fighting in the park. Like every fucking scene of that movie to me is perfect. And Jim Henson magic. Like I've watched, I think, every Turtles movie ever, I think. And that first one is just magic to me. It's so good.
Yeah. Pretty solid movie. It's not my top 5, but it definitely made my list. Debating on what to make my top 5, because I just watched it about like 2 months ago, and I didn't realize how quick it was. Like I was like, wait a minute, this movie wasn't longer? Like, oh man, like so much happened so quickly, and it was so good at the same time.
Yeah, you get a little bit of a second act lull when they're out on the farm and they're rehabilitating Raph in the tub and all that stuff, but it really keeps the pace. And like Gramps was saying about sequels and studio interference, I mean, this is another prime example that by 92 or whenever Secret of the Ooze came out, they're not allowed to use their weapons anymore. They got to fight with fucking bologna on a string, like they can't, they're throwing sausages and shit at each other. Like there's a scene where they're actually trapped in a net. It gets raised up in the air and they're stuck in a net, and you can see Leo's swords sticking out the side, and they're like, what are we going to do? I'm like, gee, I fucking wonder. But that first one, man, so good. So that's my number 4. Let's keep it going round at number 3. This is a really good variety so far. I think we've only had one overlapping choice. Yeah. So, Brance, what do we got?
I'm going to have to do a coin flip here on this one. Well, I'm just going to say this. This is a movie that I love to watch, and it's also fun for me and my household because my wife loves this movie too. And it's just kind of cool for us to have a movie like this that we can share together and watch together. So I'm going to say Wonder Woman.
Oh, yes. That's that's
an awesome movie. And,
Sleeper. Huge sleeper.
No, it's not. That was a record-breaking movie.
That was
a huge movie.
So many people are not thinking Wonder Woman.
I guess when you think about because the DCEU fizzled out and had so much drama around it, but maybe right now it's not as thought of.
Yeah,
but
I thought it was interesting the way that the story was built, where it was actually back in like World War I time, because you would have thought, with the rest of the DCEU, they're going to make it in modern time. But putting it back in the past really, I thought that was a very, very
nice touch,
especially with, what's his name? Steve
Trevor.
Average guy, Steve Trevor.
Well, I love that they took this.
She's mine.
They took the sort of, they took the gender roles and flipped it, right? And they kind of took the Captain America stuff and flipped it, where it's like she's simultaneously like this most educated, most well-trained warrior, but then also the fish out of water.
Well, it really helped show her, her mythic lore, because she's this,
Dude, the beach
demigod
in Themyscira. Oh my God.
Yeah, Themyscira. Those scenes were awesome. But she's this demigoddess, I guess is the word for her.
Yeah.
Where she's thousands of years old, and that doesn't really get touched
looking
upon.
Like a snack.
That doesn't really get touched on. If you just watch. And you compare it to the old Linda Carter TV series, which was very fun.
Right.
But that really wasn't discussed. And then this really brings back a lot of her comic lore. And I love when they tie it into the comics and stuff like that. So yeah, that's my number 3 there. Anytime that movie's on, I'm going to stop and I'm going to watch it. Especially that scene where she crosses no man's land. Dude.
Yeah, that's the best. Yeah.
Yeah, all those guys are like sitting in the trenches, and they're like looking at her, and all of a sudden robe comes down, you see the sword and the shield, and you're like, oh yeah.
I actually asked Jeff Johns when I met him, because he was a producer on those films, and I was like, dude, so there's certain shots like No Man's Land that look identical to Snyder's stuff in BVS and Man of Steel that came right before it. I was like, I know he's a producer, but like, how are they translating that visual style? Like, are they bringing in like any of his people or whatever? And he's like, no, they had their own team, just like following the aesthetic. Like they set the blueprint and we just carried it on. I'm like, God damn, because those shots are incredible. The only reason I wouldn't put that one on my list is because I do have issues with the third act. And I actually recently found out, I was starting to look into like, is this a rewrite, a reshoot, something like that? Because it turned into a big CGI slugfest with Ares, and it felt so tonally different. And I did some research and found out, yes, it is a rewrite, and the original script ended, and she was wrong. She kills the Danny Huston character like she does, but then there's not the reveal that the real Ares or whatever. It's just this like sort of, she had it built up in her head the whole movie that no, it must be Ares, and like no, the real villain is like human nature, And I like that because it's kind of, it runs through the whole story as a setup. But yeah, they ended up changing that for a more climactic battle, which makes sense.
Of course, they got to have a big bad.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. All right, Dunk, what do you got at number 3?
Number 3 was rough, but one scene will always sit in my mind, and I remember watching this in IMAX, and I have to go with one of Frank Miller's 300.
Oh, wow.
Great movie.
Dude.
Yeah.
Dude, that scene where he kicks the Persian into the pit.
Wham! Don't come over here. Fuck the messenger, homie. So yeah, that was just that scene alone. I was thinking, I was looking at the list, and I was like, that everything about that movie. We went through this time period where like a lot of Frank Miller films were becoming live action,
right?
And that movie in particular, you had a lot of cinematics that was it just felt like you're looking at a comic book, which is so sick to like incorporate that in a movie. But then you look into like the history of like the Spartans, and you have like these insane like sex scenes and all that crap. And if you look into the history of what Spartans were doing
right
back then, it's like, whoa, okay.
You're like, oh, this is tame. Weird.
Yeah. Like, wait a minute. Like, this was like, all right, okay, this is solid. And just overall, a great movie, great action scenes.
Butler, I think that kind of launched him.
Yeah.
Dude, I hadn't seen that in forever because it came out in theaters and blew me away, right?
Yeah.
And then the next year, I was at a friend's house and she had it on DVD, and we're watching it on, at that time, probably maybe a 30-inch TV at best,
That was huge.
And I was like, yeah, this movie doesn't really hold up, does it? And so I had that impression in my head. And last year, I was like, I haven't seen this in forever. And I was going through some of, I watched like Dawn of the Dead, and I was watching some of Snyder's early ones that I hadn't seen in forever. So I put on 300. I'm like, holy fuck, that's a good movie. Like, it really holds up. Like, the visuals that they were capable of at that time, so far ahead.
Yeah.
I mean, there are shots from that movie that look better than shit coming out now.
Oh, yeah.
100%. That, and there was also the time period, like when the DVD came out, it was a time period where everyone started getting surround sounds. And I remember like going to my cousin's basement, and he had like this whole setup, and it was like these speakers behind me, and I'm like, I'm in the movie right now.
Yeah.
This is sick, dude. And it was like being in the movie theater all over again. So I'd like that's another thing that's had in my mind.
That's Zack Snyder, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, there's so just like visually immersive, sonically, like you just feel like you're in that fucking world, man.
Yeah, and of course Frank Miller was involved, so it was like, wow, you wrote this, you did your research with the history, so did Zack Snyder, and you guys created this masterpiece. And I'm gonna make sure to watch it soon again.
Well, another thing about that movie, it's an iconic film when it changes culture in a way, because do you guys remember there were actually the 300 workouts that they would publish and put in like Men's Fitness and Men's Journal and all this stuff, and they were interviewing the trainer that got Gerard Butler in the cast and shape. Now some of the guys they did have to kind of do some CGI work, but Gerard Butler and most of the main guys, they actually did these physical workouts, and they weren't just lifting weights. They were doing things of Spartan soldiers may do. I'm talking about like rolling heavy boulders, all things with physical movement.
The BVS montage where he's hammering the tire and shit.
Yes, they were doing that stuff. He was like, it's not about looking buff. It's looking physical, training to fight. So they built and I forget how long it took, maybe like 9 months or something like that. They did these workouts where he's like, no, you're going to go run up this mountain. You're going to lift these boulders. You're going to swim. You're going to do all these things plus the diet.
Mad commitment to the film.
Dude, we were watching a Jake Gyllenhaal show last night called Presumed Innocent, my wife and I, and there's a sex scene with Jake Gyllenhaal. He takes his shirt off or whatever. He takes his shirt off. And see, that's the shit I would cut out when we're on audio. And the camera just kind of pans over, and I was like, I actually said out loud, Jesus Christ, this dude looks like he was drawn by Kelly Jones. Like all the fucking, I was like, I didn't even know people had muscles there. Like, holy fucking Christ. Oh my God.
Those workouts, man. P90X.
Yeah, P90X. There you go.
Oh my God.
All right. So, Dave, what do you got? You had 300. So, Grumpler.
Oh, man. My favorite MCU movie. Love it. Like Gramps said about Wonder Woman, like everything stops if I see this movie.
It's Ant-Man, isn't it?
Yes, it is Ant-Man. Captain America, the Winter Soldier.
Fuck yeah.
I just fucking love that movie, bro.
Amazing action scenes. It's
the fight scenes with the Cap and Winter Soldier, the knife and the this and the I just love that movie.
And again, like the emotional stakes, like some Spider-Man shit, you know. Yeah. His villain is his best friend, you know. It's so good. And that was the first film that the Russo brothers directed for Marvel. And to me, there's a huge line right there. Like, that's a turning point. There's before Winter Soldier and after, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I will jump in with my number 3. And it's a movie that I just watched again, actually, this week. But this is going to be my lone pick for Marvel, and it's Logan. Because I've been a huge Wolverine fan since I was very small. And my God, you know, you notice a theme here. We got V, we got Raphael, we got Logan. You know, I definitely like the rough loner types, but that movie is just perfect. You know, it's the perfect, it should have been anyway, the perfect ending for that character. And to actually have, like, when you watch the X-Men animated series or X-Men 97, like, you got Wolverine running around with his claws out, but he can't, like, unless there's a Sentinel, he can't really do anything, you know? In the first movie, or the first scene of that movie, he's getting his limo jacked and he's cutting dudes' heads off and shit. And I was like, yeah, see, that's what he should have been doing this whole time, you know? We get the claws up through the guy's open, like through the chin, through the open mouth, and out the top of the head. I was like, yeah, see, that's what I've wanted this whole time. Like, we get a couple of moments like that in the original X-Men movies, like when they bust into the mansion in X2. I think he puts his claws through a guy into the refrigerator door. But, like, we really didn't get a lot of that from, I don't know, like 9 Wolverine appearances or something. And I also just want to mention Daphne Keane is incredible in that movie. I really don't give a shit about kids, and and she really sells it. And the crazy thing is that she has this angst and this scream that's better than Hugh, and Hugh is amazing. Like, I recently watched all the X-Men movies again from the beginning, and it's funny, in the earlier ones, looking back, it almost looks like he's cosplaying. It's like he's not quite there. And then around like Days of Future Past, it's like, oh yeah, now that's the guy. Maybe the second solo Wolverine movie, like that's the guy. That's, he's got the physicality. He's not worried so much about the hair shape, And Logan is just it, man. It's just.
One thing that I loved about that movie was one of the smart choices that they had where, if superheroes were real, if Wolverine was real, if Batman, Spider-Man was real, what do you think people would do? They'd start making toys out of them. They'd start making comic books of them to kind of tell these stories about these, real people, but kind of in a, way like that. I loved how they incorporated, okay, comics are part of this world, and we're going to use these people that really were superheroes, and we're going to make these stories about them. And then the kids kind of believe them, and they tie that into the plot. I thought,
and he's like, "This is bullshit."
That's
not how it happened.
This is not how it happened. Well, and it became part of the story. Yeah,
I want to rewatch it. It's been a while.
Good.
And I was already a fan of James Mangold because I think the first film I saw from him was Walk the Line, which was right around the time I was getting into Johnny Cash for the first time. My early, I was like 20 years old or something, and loved that movie. Went back and watched Copland with Stallone and De Niro. Like, dude, yeah, James Mangold is so good. He did Ford v Ferrari. Just some incredible movies, and that's top of my favorites from him. So that was tough. It was almost my number 2.
Did you choke up when Professor X passes away?
I mean,
spoiler alert.
I've seen it so many times that not now,
anymore.
But yes, certainly. Yeah, and that was such a twisted reveal too, the way that it happens. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is kind of a fault in the movie, that like, because there's not a superhero that he couldn't easily destroy, you have to have him fighting a clone of himself, which is like a problem you run into with Superman or overpowered characters. It's like, it's not the coolest thing, but they used him sparingly, and it was, again, in that scene, a sucker punch. It was really emotionally effective, so I don't dock it anything for that. So that's my number 3. That's my Marvel pick. Gramps, number 2.
Oh, man.
The poop.
The shit.
Now we're getting into hallowed territory here, right?
Yeah, drop your number 2 and then wipe.
So this was a movie that, as a kid, I had posters on the wall. Probably really, helped set my comic culture lifestyle into motion here. And we're going to go with...
Wait, pause. Before you say it, we're this far along. We're 49 minutes into this episode, and no one said Batman yet. This is crazy. Right. This is crazy. Yeah. This is crazy. Okay, keep going.
Yeah. So this was a movie that had so much hype built around it. And I mean, it was like everywhere. You couldn't ignore it. And it also came out around my birthday. So I was like, yes, this is meant to be. And it was Batman 89.
Mr. Mom.
Yeah. Saw it in theaters probably, 2 or 3 times as a kid. And I mean, it was just like amazing to see Batman in real life, and the Batmobile and Joker and it was just, you couldn't get enough of it. And so anytime that movie's on, I will stop and watch that
Yeah, that is, to me, just a perfect movie. Again, like the Batmobile and the set design and the music, just like, it was so unique to Burton. And like, it just, there's nothing like it.
Well, even just the way that they made Gotham City look. Forget the architect that they used, but man,
Anton
it was
First.
It was just like, this is not like New York City. This is not like Chicago. This is like its own thing. And it just painted a world and a backdrop where you're like, it's going to be rough out there in this type of city.
And Keaton's performance is just incredible. It's a masterclass in minimalism. I think that Robert Pattinson drew a lot from him. I mean, honestly, they all have in their own ways. Certainly Christian Bale did. But what I loved about, we've seen real angry Christian Bale Batman and real angry brawler Ben Affleck Batman. And with Pattinson, he was following those bigger, edgier versions, right? But he still would speak quietly and not turn his head, even though he could in that suit. And he would act with his eyes. He would act with his eyes and straight face and was very reserved. And these are all things that Keaton set in motion. And, you know, we talk about, like, so many people would say, if I didn't rule out animation for this list, so many people would say, oh, Mask of the Phantasm, or it's a Batman the Animated Series. And those were so clearly and specifically inspired by that movie that you can't deny the influence to this day, you know? Like, it's just a seminal piece of work that endures, man. Yeah.
And shout out to Carl Newman, the ballet Batman, who was the
movement
motion. Yeah, the what was his role? The movement double. Yeah. He is in so many iconic scenes that you don't realize it's him. You know, and this is a kind of a fun fact for, you know, our viewers and listeners of the show, is that, you know, the role of Batman in that movie was actually played by like 3 different people. You had Keaton for like the close-ups, and then you had another guy that was their fight stunt double,
Dave Lee. R.I.P. to Dave Lee.
Carl Newman, who would do like the scenes like what you see in the Bell Tower, where he turns around real quick and twirls the cape, or where he has Vicky Bell and he rescues her from the art museum and they jump into the Batmobile, or on top of Axis Chemicals where he turns, you know, all those dramatic movements where he's turning like that, you know, they had Carl doing. And Carl was a professional ballet dancer that fit the physique, but they knew that, I think, you know, and he was on an episode of Bat Force Radio, if you want to, you know, quick little plug for that. But
yeah, that was a great episode, and introduced me and a lot of other people to
him.
Yeah,
I never do that. And he's such a cool dude, but his performance kind of gave a grace to how Batman, you know, held himself in his posture and his movement and stuff like that, because they wanted something different than what the other guys could do. And they were like, hey, can you do this scene? Yeah. And so many of those scenes that he points out, you're like, oh my gosh, that's him. That's him. That's him.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's him.
There was even
he's in like half the movie.
There's even a whole opening sequence that we've never even seen that he did as well. And yeah, I can't say enough good things about that movie. I saw it on VHS when I was 4 years old, probably early 1990, and scared the shit out of me. I watched it with my stepdad, and I was just hooked. I watched that videotape over and over and over and over again, and like you said, set me on this path. And, you know, the Turtles coming out within a year of that, and it's just like such a great fucking time to be a kid you know, and then Batman the Animated Series, Batman Returns, X-Men Animated, like all of that within a 2-year span or 2.5-year span was just crazy, man. It was amazing.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that was my number 2.
All right, Dunk, take a deuce.
All right, so my number 2, I'm very close to that one. I had to go with Batman Returns.
Nice.
I was 3 when 89 came out, so I didn't have like that, oh my God, this is awesome feeling. But in 92, I was 6 and I was like, holy hell. And it was like, you had the McDonald's cups, you had the toys,
Happy Meals toys.
Yeah, you had so much going on and it was in your face. And I remember that's when I dressed up as Batman for Halloween. Yeah, Michelle Pfeiffer. You had, freaking like DeVito. I have the poster I'm staring at. Look at your background, Sammy. Like,
yeah. There's even another 6 foot. There's a Catwoman on that side too. Yeah.
Yeah. And, a movie that still holds to this day, when you look at like people who like Michelle Pfeiffer alone, the amount of people who cosplay Michelle Pfeiffer, it's insane.
Roxanne.
Shout out to Roxanne over there in Belgium. There was just so much to that movie when that's what got me, right? Because before that you had 89, before that you had Turtles, before that you had Superman.
Yeah.
And then for me it was like, boom, Batman Returns. And then then I started watching Batman Animated Series and I started paying attention and I fell in love with Batman. I fell in love with Catwoman. I fell in love with all these characters. And it just holds. And the way the movie starts with just Penguin getting dumped, homie. Like, he got deuced real quick.
Long, slow crawl with the fucking score. Like, to me, that is Elfman's best score. Because the second movie has all the big bombastic stuff and the moody stuff, but it has this real sorrow in it and this sad penguin stuff that I just fucking love.
And same thing with Michelle Pfeiffer because she got thrown off the fucking roof, dude.
Yeah.
Like everyone should have died.
right. Yeah, I mean,
and redemption happened.
I feel similarly about that movie. Like, it was always neck and neck on those two when I was growing up because, like you said, those performances, DeVito, Pfeiffer, oh my God.
Yeah, DeVito running for mayor, eating
Christopher
a fish.
Walken.
Hello. Walken.
Dude, eating the fish. Just like, just there, like, what does everyone want from me?
Dude, and again,
so many
like
parts of that movie.
When you're in like first or second grade and you see him bite the guy's face, it's just like, oh my God, like that's gnarly. But I'm glad that you mentioned that.
From that movie.
I saw that.
Yeah, I wanted to go with, I wanted to go with another part 2 movie. I wanted to go with The Dark Knight, but
right.
The reality for me was that this Batman Returns has so much more to me personally.
Yeah, it made an impact on you.
And brought me down this road of being the dope knight and all. So, yeah.
So I've got a fun fact about Batman Returns. Okay?
He never returns.
This is...
He never went anywhere.
The name Max Schreck, do you know where that comes from?
Oh, fuck. I read it at some point. I don't remember.
Max Schreck was the actor who portrayed Count Orlok in the original Nosferatu.
Okay.
So Max Schreck is basically a nod to Nosferatu.
Which is weird, too, because, like, the original script, he was supposed to be, like, I don't know if it was, like, Batman's lost brother, or no, maybe he was Cobblepot's lost brother or some shit like that. And what was it? Because I have a copy of the original Sam Hamm script that's called Batman 2. And then Daniel Waters came and rewrote the whole motherfucker. And you probably go listen to Superhero Stuff You Should Know. They know all the ins and outs, all the trivia about that. But the original version was like, I think there was a Harvey Dent role that got absorbed into Max Schreck. And there was he's kind of an amalgam of a couple different ideas that they had. But yeah, just iconic performances. The only issue I have with that movie is it brings in a little more camp that wasn't really there, you know.
Yeah.
I was just talking to Justin from Epic Film Guys today he posted that scene where it's like, eat floor, it's high fiber. I'm like, ugh. There's a couple moments that I'm like, Jesus Christ. But for the most part, man, I don't think DeVito's Penguin really gets his flowers for being as iconic. I mean, that I'd put that next to Heath Ledger or anybody, Jack Nicholson,
Dude, how about the Penguins? Just the Penguins alone. Like those, and some great acting.
Cross between dudes in suits, animatronics, and real penguins. Like,
yeah, and a massive
the penguins are getting terrorized.
Right. Yeah, I know.
Well, I mean, Dunk, I don't know if you obviously don't remember this, but when that movie came out, I mean, there was a lot of controversy actually about it because it was much darker than 89. And like parents,
Which is funny because it's not.
They're wanting to take their kids to see it, but they're like, it's too scary and la 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 la.
It's all DeVito's fault.
It's all like
he wants to fuck Michelle on the bed there, and like he's biting guys in the face. Like it's to me it's kind of a goofier Tim Burton. It's more like Scissorhands or Beetlejuice in a way, but it has some more adult moments in it that kind of pissed off the religious right.
It was different for a superhero movie. Like you that time period in the 80s, writing started getting dark.
Yeah.
Right. It wasn't as campy. Right. Thanks a lot, Frank. And then the movie started reflecting that. So it was like, it was a change in times when the movie started coming out and being a little darker.
Yeah.
But that's whatever. We're here now.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
All right. Grump Night, number 2. What you got? Fuck yeah.
Just love
so
it.
Good.
So it's,
dun, dun, dun,
I mean,
I work out to the soundtrack sometimes. It's weird.
The writing,
I bought it. Yeah.
Just the mannerisms that Pattinson had as Batman.
So underrated.
You're making me want to go watch it right now.
The scene, my favorite scene, I think, is with the cop when he's walking into the mayor's house. And the cop puts his hand and, he's just looking down at this guy's hand. Like, as a Batman fan, I'm thinking, well, Batman's thinking I could break his arm like 8 different ways right now, And just, there was so much subtlety
you know what I'm capable of?
in that scene where he walked around and, picked apart the crime scene or whatever. I just loved it.
I love seeing Detective Batman.
Great.
It's the most, to me, it's the most faithful comic adaptation. Nolan used a lot of Long Halloween, Year One, all of that stuff, but I felt like this one really, really was faithful, and like the stuff they did with Selena, it just gave a shit. It wasn't like, okay, we're gonna take some of that and make our own movie. It was like, no, we're gonna bring that shit to life, and maybe not in a shot by shot way like Watchmen or 300, but like they really, really cared about. I mean, to have elements of like Darwin Cook and stuff on screen, or Jeff Johns' Earth One, like that's crazy to me that they took that much attention to the source material. And for a 3-hour movie, it's just, I think I watched it 5 times in the theater.
I can't. I throw it on every once in a while. The fighting, I thought was great. It was brutal. The way, he needs to be. Catwoman, I thought she was amazing. Selena Kyle, Catwoman, whatever. Just call her Catwoman.
Yeah, Zoe Kravitz, Colin Farrell, John Turturro, Jeffrey Wright. My God, supporting cast. Andy Serkis.
I can't disagree with you guys about how great DeVito was as the Penguin, but Colin Farrell is right there,
Stepped it up. Yeah. 100%.
And that show, man, the spinoff series on HBO is just wow.
Yeah.
Floored me.
Yeah. It's like part of us, like part of me is like don't give us any more to ruin this for us. But it's like, no, give us more. I want to know what else you're capable of.
I mean, I've been so mad that the sequel keeps getting delayed and delayed. I'm like,
which is fun.
I'm fully prepared that it will never come out, like because we know how studios work and whatever. But like, man, the fact that we did get this show that was that fucking good, and what's her name, Christina Miliani or something, who played
oh god,
fucking
Sophia.
Yes, thank you.
Falcone. Yeah, Sophia Falcone. Dude, she was incredible. I mean, Colin Farrell being a star as this role, and she's walking in, stealing the scenes. Like, my God, that movie gave us so much with this added thing. And what do we talk about on the show but the Riddler Year One and how much we loved that? And, you know, Batman the Imposter from the co-writer, like, this movie has reach.
Yeah. Solid pick, dude. I didn't know where to put that, so I was like, I'm gonna just stick to this other stuff for now, because that was just solid, dude.
It's funny. I was thinking about my list, and I wasn't thinking about like what you guys were gonna bring. It was just gonna be a big mystery to me. But you guys keep bringing up stuff that I'm glad we still get to talk about.
Yeah.
All right, my number 2. We're gonna go back to Frank Miller. I love this so much. This is like the, you know, probably my favorite comic book, period. Maybe, certainly my favorite one without Batman in it, and that's Sin City, The Hard Goodbye in specifically, but like Sin City, the film, man, it still holds up as just not only a perfect movie on its own, but a perfect adaptation of those books. Robert Rodriguez and Frank together recreating shot after shot with the rain and the negative space and the just really like the cinematic composition of those original pages mixed with this like gruff neo-noir voices and just like everything about it is perfect. The soundtrack, we get the guest Tarantino directing scene. I mean, huge ensemble cast. They're combining stories from like 3 or 4 different books, and all they're doing is simplifying it a little bit. Like they're trimming some of the dialogue in each scene, but it's damn near word for word.
And I mean, what's crazy is how Frank Miller purposely crafted that book so it would not be made into a movie. That's one of the reasons why it's so much negative space and the black and white. And he did not want that story made into a movie. And then Rodriguez is like, hey, man, I want to make Sin City, and talked him into coming down to Texas and showing him how to do it. He like filmed like a sample scene.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, not just that, but he actually filmed that first scene in the movie with Josh Hartnett because Frank was like, no, I don't want to do that. Then he filmed that first shot and showed it to him. And he's like, oh,
yeah,
really? And he's like, yeah, I just want to make what you did on the big screen.
And then I saw something where they had to find who's going to play Marv.
I know.
And I think they had Mickey Rourke audition in like a hotel room because they had to keep it all under wraps, right?
Right.
And Rourke did his thing, and I
so good.
I can't believe it. I want to say it's in like the special features or something like that, but Frank Miller just wrote in his notepad, Mickey Rourke is Marv after what he did. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like he did that and The Wrestler and Iron Man 2 in like 3 or 4 years as like kind of his comeback. And man, those are great films.
Yeah, that's one where like for Sin City, I was like, I don't know where to put this either. And I'm like, damn it.
You're like, Sam will cover it.
Yeah, I'm like, Sam's definitely going to pick it, so I'm going to just go put it over there.
Yeah, you knew it before I said it, man. All right,
like,
so
well, you also get the sketches. I'm like, oh, he really likes this damn movie.
Right. Can you I can't, I don't know if you can, no. Yeah, you can see there's the yellow bastard right there.
I haven't watched that in a long time ago.
By J.D. Korea.
Yeah, I haven't
It's
watched
so
it in a
fucking
while.
gnarly. Second one isn't quite as good, but it's still got some really great moments. The only thing that sucks is I wish that because Josh Brolin was playing Dwight before his surgery in the sequel, and we had Clive Owen who played him after the surgery in the original. And so I wish that after he had run away and done the facial reconstruction and all this stuff, that they would have switched to Clive Owen for the last act of the sequel. That would have been fucking awesome, but it's still very good. And Eva Green, my God. Yeah. Anyway, that's number 2. We are on to the last round. This is the number 1 top pick. And again, guys, this is just for fun. So don't be married to your pick. Like, don't be sweating it too hard. But yeah, top 5 comic book movies. Number 1 pick, Grandpa Batman.
Drum roll.
My Little Pony.
How'd you know? No, that's not a superhero.
Depending how you watch it.
The first one.
I went with what I thought was the perfect origin story that reset a franchise.
Oh, are you going to take Grumps's pick?
That, again, was a game changer in modern film and modern characterization. And I'm going with Batman Begins.
Fuck!
Oh, man.
Hell yeah.
Oh, it just might as well skip the sound.
That is... I mean,
yeah. You just said, what's your number 1?
Are you all 3 Batman Begins?
I am, yeah.
Yep,
Wow,
me too.
dude, that's so
I just
good.
watched it. I just legit just finished watching it.
Love
It's
that
perfect. Dude,
Yeah.
like it is. I know that Dark Knight gets all the love, but
Which is fine.
for
Which
a Batman movie, a character-focused Batman movie,
100%.
oh my God.
Yeah.
I always wanted to see, my one complaint about 89 is it doesn't show you how he becomes Batman. It shows you the trauma that shaped him to want to be Batman, but it doesn't show you how he became Batman.
Yeah.
Right.
And this takes it all the way back to, piddly little wussy Bruce Wayne trying to take on a gangster, and he gets slapped down like the little bitch he is. And he goes, ugh, and I got a
pussy.
Yeah, and he gets on a boat and leaves Gotham. Okay, I wanted to see that.
Yeah.
I wanted to see his trials and what he went through to forge that, steel. You got to walk through the fire to forge the steel. I wanted to see that journey. I wanted to see him, do all that. What was the story behind those years where he wants to come back finally to Gotham? I wanted to see that. And that's what this movie gives us.
And
you don't see that in any other Batman movie.
And building that relationship with Jim Gordon, and like, there's just so much year one in this movie. Right. Number 2. And also, a lot of people nowadays will complain about Christian Bale's voice. And to me, I've said this for years, but they changed significantly the audio mix on his voice in the sequels, and they also gave him a lot more dialogue in the suit. And in the first movie, his voice was fucking perfect. It's ferocious, it's burly. Christian Bale talked about his process, his reasoning for doing that, and he's like, dude, if you're a guy who's doing this every night, like, you are on the verge of fucking rage at all times. He's like, he's not going to come up and whisper to you, he's going to, do I look like a cop? Like, that's what he's going to do, And so it's not everybody's interpretation, but it's his interpretation, and I love it.
Yeah.
Well, also, if you're the most popular, wealthiest man in Gotham, you don't want to sound like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I love the fact that, in the Ben Affleck version, they gave him an actual voice changer. I thought that was really cool. But I mean, let's pretend that Christian Bale had a voice changer. And also, I like the fact that I thought Christian Bale was basically the perfect Bruce Wayne, too, because, I mean, as much as I like Keaton, he shows a Bruce Wayne that's not just neurotic. He's a man that's in control at all times.
Yeah.
And
he's more emotionally shut down and reclusive,
Yeah. I just found his Bruce Wayne a little bit more believable. And also I like the fact that, you know what? I think Christian Bale could kick my ass in real life. And that gave me a sense of reality. I was like, okay, Nolan's going for this realistic view. I believe Christian Bale could kick my ass in real life. So yeah, I'm all in on this.
I mean, I think Carrie Kelly could kick my ass, so I'm not really. First night on the job, she could do it.
I read where Christian Bale, he got so into the role that, he was lifting and all this stuff. And he got up to be like 220.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, no. You need to trim it back, bro. We need you around 175, 180.
Yeah. The Machinist.
To fit into the suit.
Yeah. So when that movie came out, I don't know about you guys, but I was a big fan of Christopher Nolan from Memento. Mm-hmm. That movie blew my mind in high school, and I went back and I rented Following at Blockbuster. And then then Insomnia came out with Pacino and Robin Williams. I'm like, oh my God, this dude's amazing. And then, find out like, oh, this new Batman, who's doing it? No shit. Christopher Nolan? I'm like, oh, this is going to be a thinker. Okay, it'd be different. And I had seen Christian Bale in American Psycho, and I can't remember if I saw The Machinist right before or I just saw it, at about the same time. But, cemented Bale is one of my favorite actors, hands down. I mean, we mentioned Ford v. Ferrari. Like, he's done so many crazy roles. The Fighter.
The Fighter, best supporting actor in that film. That was
Vice. Nuts. Playing Cheney. Like, oh, dude, he's just on another level. And I hate that he became a punching bag and a parody, and an easy way to make fun of the character that we love, because he threw himself at this character so fully that
that's all he does in every character. He just goes 150. Whatever he has, he just goes all in.
I saw an interview clip of him the other day where he said, when we're making the sequel, it was important to me and Chris that, a lot of Batman movies, he kind of becomes less interesting than his villains, right? And then I get on set with Heath, and I'm watching how far he's taken this. I'm going, I'm sort of feeling less interesting compared to the villain here. I didn't word it quite the same, I'm sure, but I was like, that's fair. Like, you can tell that they looked at what came before and they really tried to do something different. Especially, like you said, it revived the franchise. It was dead after Schumacher and Clooney.
And I also love Michael Caine as Alfred. I thought, legendary. Dude, he is just such a icon.
Also, like, they brought like characters you normally don't see. Like, you have a Ra's al Ghul, you have a Scarecrow.
Scarecrow.
So it's like you bring these other characters that you don't normally see, and it's part of like an intro or
Irish Ra's al Ghul.
Dude, Cillian Murphy was almost Batman.
Yeah.
He actually went as far as doing a suit test.
Yeah.
It would not have been the same. It would not have been the same.
But that's why he's a good director. I'll tell people that of like, in work situations at your job, they're struggling with somebody, or be like, dude, like, a good manager is going to see a person that's like, they're really struggling. They suck at this, but what do they do well? Oh, let's move them over there, and a good director can do that, where it's like, oh yeah, I auditioned for this guy 10 years ago, and then he put me in this other fucking role, because he remembered something like that. I love those kind of stories about actors.
Yeah. I mean, you got Liam Neeson, Gary Oldman, Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
Dude.
Lucius Fox, man.
Morgan, dude, what a sleeper role.
Think about the influence of Lucius Fox being on the big screen. I mean, here's a character who wasn't even hardly on the animated series.
Yeah,
you know?
he was in the comics in the 80s, but I think they slowly went away from him. So.
And now he's
yes,
a mainstay in the comics. I mean, it's just like,
I mean, fuck, you've got his son, Luke Fox.
Yeah, his son is Batman in one aspect.
Yeah.
And then what's the other one?
Batwing.
Is it Batwing?
Yeah, because I was like, why'd you name it the same thing as a thing that already exists?
Yeah, the thing that he flies in, but Batwing. Okay.
He's like, I'm going to get inside the Batwing, if you catch my meaning. I'm going to get in the cockpit. Huh? Yeah?
Giggity.
Well, have myself a joyride. Huh? All right, so last thing I want to say about this movie, Batman Begins, is that after the Schumacher movies kind of got me out of Batman, and I'm finding myself in music, and I'm playing bands, and I'm growing up, and I'm not really reading comic books anymore. I'm still watching those first two Burton movies because I fucking loved them, but this movie got me back into reading comics because I'm like, oh, this is inspired by Year One and like The Long Halloween, and then when, fucking the sequel comes out, I'm reading more, and I'm getting The Killing Joke, and I'm some of the essentials, and I've talked a lot about this, so I won't go too much into it, but just the fact that it got me reading again, this has been a 20-year journey now, I think this summer marks 20 years of Batman Begins, and I definitely wouldn't be doing this with you guys without this movie.
Man, I could go on for hours about this movie, but the ending, the last final scene, just there was a roar in the movie theater, Joker card,
the Joker card teaser,
and like that's how you do it.
And this is the reason. This scene is the reason that I am so dismissive of the Joker now, because when you've got how many years from 1989 to 2008, right? We got 19 years that there's no Joker. And so you come off of Ledger and you do Leto, and then you have Gotham, and now we've got...
You go nuts.
Right, and I'm like, and did you really need that cameo in the Batman? Did you really need that? Because you're supposed to see that, and it's like they're thinking you're going to react like we reacted in 2005 at the end of Batman Begins. I'm like, no, we're not. It's because we hadn't seen that motherfucker since not even the previous decade, the decade before. That was a huge deal. You're going to have someone following Jack? Oh my God, I can't imagine what that would be like. And now it's like we got so many fucking versions, like, yo, pump the brakes, make it exciting again.
Yeah, there's other guys, there's other
we
villains.
We didn't even know
chill.
There was going to be
so many other villains.
So,
Seriously. And I don't think he did either, because...
He calls himself the Joker.
It was...
crazy.
He leaves a calling card.
I'll look into it. I think I realized that was my favorite movie. I was at Dallas Fan Expo like 3 years ago, and I was on the queue trying to get my New York Comic Con tickets. And I turned on the TV, and it was like, I forgot what scene it was. And I was like, okay, I'm going to sit down and watch this. And I went late to the con that day. So I'm like, I have to watch this. And once it was over, it was on TNT. So I'm like, it was way longer than it should have.
Right, all the commercials.
But I was like, no, I'm watching this. No. And then it was over, and I got my New York Comic Con tickets. I was like, all right, good. I'm going to go over to the con now. And every time it's on, and even before the show, I was like, let me watch it before the show starts. And
dude,
it's that movie. It's the movie that once it's on, I have to stop what I'm doing. Everything else is not important anymore. I'm watching it like it's the first time.
Yeah, literally. I mean, it's like one of those movies. It's just like a good song or a good book where every time you watch it, you can find something that you've never noticed before, or something strikes a little different than it did before.
Yeah.
even the scenes where he's training with Ra's al Ghul, I've seen it, I can't even count how many times.
Sick.
But now I'm like, oh, I never noticed this about the ninjas in the background.
Right.
Oh, I never noticed this about this flower in the background. Everything is placed in the scenes on purpose with intent. Ice and everything like that. It's just,
it's so
cool.
Scenic. Mm-hmm. Like those scenes are scenic as hell. Like all the snow and ice and everything, and it's like, just bring it back in IMAX. I'm ready to watch it in IMAX again. Like,
I love it.
Let me tell you, dude, when they do Batman Day in September, the theater, Cinemark here in my town, they will always load up their schedule with Batman films. Mm-hmm. And a year and a half ago, they had an all Nolan day. So I did a triple feature, and I watched the whole trilogy in the theater for the first time since they had originally been in theaters, and it was
no fluids.
Fucking awesome. Man.
Yeah, I mean,
drinking no water.
Well, no, because there was a break. There's a break between each movie, and so I got to walk over to Chipotle or whatever, and then come back. So
you ate Chipotle, then watched the movie. Good God!
I don't know why people say Chipotle makes them shit. I've never had that problem with them.
Dude,
everything makes me shit, and Chipotle does not.
Chipotle's not generic.
Maybe it's because you guys are
poop.
Yeah, maybe you guys are getting fucking guacamole or something. Okay. I don't get.
I'm going to see AC/DC in 1 week.
Nice,
right? I won't eat Chipotle this week because it'll kill me for the whole week. I'm not going to do it.
Damn, son.
All right, so 3 of you have the same number 1. I didn't say mine, which has already been said. It's Batman '89. Okay. There's no. I mean, look around me. There's no question. It has to be. But I think it's perfectly arguable for Batman '89, for Batman Begins, or for The Batman. Okay. I think they're all virtually perfect movies in their own way, perfect adaptations of the character. When I walked out of the theater after The Batman, that was the first time in my life where I went, oh my God, I think they topped '89. I think they finally did it right. It just as like a really faithful adaptation that sort of took elements of all the other films and all the comics that came before it and really made this thing. But I will never probably have someone more exciting to me than watching Michael Keaton in the suit. I just and that score and man.
No, you're never going to have that feeling when you have 2 muggers, doling over their cash grab, and in
American
the background
Express
you
card.
see this man come down with wings. You're never going to get that feeling out of another movie.
Yeah.
Such
the inexplicable steam from everywhere.
That Batmobile.
Yeah.
It's that
is the Batmobile. I mean, I don't know why they just didn't keep it in every movie, because
just bring it back.
They should have kept it in the comics, man.
Flash. That's my one
I was
gripe about the
off
Flash movie. Yeah, they should have used the Batmobile in the Flash movie.
You put that in the
fucking
minds. Teaser trailer. Yeah. You unveiled it in the teaser trailer, and we're like, "Oh shit, we're gonna get to see the Batmobile!" And it's like, "Yeah, you'll see it sitting right there."
Yeah, the garage.
They were basically, we don't want to spend the money to get this thing running again.
Yeah, that would have been that oh shit moment, just like the end of Batman Begins. It would have been like,
I mean, could you imagine if you had the 2 Flash running, the Batmobile going down? That would have been.
Fuck, that's when I fucking had. That's when I shit myself.
I also came across a fan edit of The Flash that I'm very excited to watch because it trims a lot of the goofier stuff out of it. I watched a few minutes just to see, and I'm looking
send me that.
it.
I'll watch it.
Yeah. Anyway, that was our top 5 comic book movies. Holy shit, that was fun, man. We covered a lot of good ground. I want to real fast not go into each one, but were there honorable mentions that you wanted to rattle off here? Grumps,
some of them were mentioned already. Blade, The Dark Knight, V for Vendetta, 300, and Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, Spider-Man 2 is on mine as well.
Nice.
In fact, mine's already pretty much been said at this point. I have Batman Begins, The Batman, Spider-Man 2, and then 2 from the MCU, which is Civil War and Infinity War.
Those two are great as well.
Because
when there's too many good movies, man.
Yeah, and when you said Winter Soldier, that to me just barely gets beat by Civil War. It's the same team, it's very, very good, but like getting Spider-Man in there and like bringing more of the team, and of course Downey, like it's such a good movie.
I'm sorry. I was gonna put Age of Ultron on my little extras here. I don't have a problem with that movie. I don't know why people said it was no good.
I really like James Spader.
Anyway,
yeah, he was awesome. But yeah, and then Infinity War, just that and Endgame being iconic. If anyone put that as like their number one, Infinity War or Endgame, I'd be like, dude, I totally get it. I think they did what, in a way, they did what Schumacher did to the Burton franchise, and they just could not leave well enough alone, and they kept milking it and getting gradually worse and worse. Like I've said so many times, they should have stopped at Endgame, mic drop, pause to reboot, and just been like, hey, we just made the greatest franchise ever. Fuck with that.
Yeah, true.
Dave, what do you got for honorable mentions?
It's tough because like I did have like View from Vendetta tied as number one, but it's like I can't. So that's obviously honorable mention. The Crow, Watchmen, The Batman,
Watchmen.
Ninja Turtles, Spider-Man 2, and then I had a Kick-Ass. Remember when Kick-Ass came out? Fun to watch, dude.
That was great.
Yo, that was so much fun to watch. And it's like, it's just tough, man, because a lot of great movies coming from comic books, and I'm happy that the culture is accepting of the comic book movies coming out, and I hope it continues.
Yeah.
Gramps, anything that we...
And The Mask.
Didn't get to?
The Mask. Oh, that was on my honorable mention.
Just for Cameron Diaz, though.
Smoking.
Some of my honorable mentions, you mentioned RoboCop.
I killed that for you.
I also had some movies that, a lot of people love to hate on, but they entertain me. And
so the matches, my friend.
I love the Daredevil director's cut with Affleck.
Happy,
dude. I
was waiting for Daredevil.
That shows, just his perception of how he sees things. It was the first time seeing that, and I was just like, "Wow, that's really cool." Because if you go back to the old Lou Ferrigno Hulk TV series, and they made a made-for-TV movie, The Trial of the Incredible Hulk, was the first appearance of Daredevil.
Oh.
And he's in this black suit. And they kind of did like this, very simplistic visual of his sensories, and stuff like that. And it's very basic, but it was pretty cool for the day, and this is late 70s, right? The actor's name was Rex Smith. I actually met him here in Dallas at a small little con. Very cool guy. But after that, you never saw a live action Daredevil until Ben Affleck, and just the way that, in the rain and all those things. And, when he's fighting as Daredevil, man, that is Daredevil on that screen, dude. I love it. And, I also have Shazam. I love that movie.
Dude, the first one's so good.
So good.
Fun. Another fun family film.
I love that movie.
That was a shock to me of how fucking good it was. Like, I immediately went out and bought the Jeff Johns book that is based on.
And it's almost like scene for scene out of that movie.
The only thing they did was cut out Black Adam. Otherwise, it's the same book.
I know. I was like, wow, they're very, true to the comic. I love that.
It's great. Yeah. Can I add on to your Daredevil thing real quick?
Sure.
So you convinced me and my wife to watch the new series because I've never read or watched any Daredevil. It always just seemed like kind of a goofy character to me. And
you know why? Because you hate disabled people.
Yes, because I'm ableist. That's why. Well, okay, like you have to be honest. Even the show, which is very well made, and it is really good. Watching this dude go through like someone's desk, and he's reading a painting of a face like Braille. I'm laughing out loud. I'm like, I know this is not a joke, but like this is hilarious. So like blind superhero is really funny to me when he's like running. I'm like, you can't hear that there's a pole there. I'm sorry. Like you
can.
Sure. But he's not making some echolocation fucking dolphin sound. Like he's just running. He can't hear it. I'm saying, I don't know. Anyway,
okay.
It's a little goofy to me, but the show is very well made, and it has some great moments.
I understand. We're also, that's part of a universe where a guy gets, radioactive isotopes on him, and he turns into the massive green Hulk that's 300 times stronger than any person in the world.
Right, which is so out there that I can buy it, but then, like, kid goes blind, and then I just, no.
But you're also talking about, Sam, where you just gave me a movie where the same ooze that creates his little turtles that go up into Ninja Turtles, it's the same ooze that is in his brain. So think about this.
Yes. However,
that radioactive
I've never read those comics.
So that radioactive isotope that's centered in his brain.
Yes.
It gives him a 360 view of his world. He does radar right here. It's a 360 up and down visual in his mind of everything that's around him. And it's not just from his hearing. It's also from his smelling. It's also from feeling the wind that blows by, his touch. I watched this thing on the senses of animals the other day. And it talks about how dogs really don't need their eyes. All their sensory, their perception of the world is mainly through their nose.
Actually, I did have a dog that was mostly blind, and he was fine.
Yeah, their sense of smell is like almost 100,000 times sharper than ours, and they can create an almost 3D imprint of their surroundings just on smell alone.
Yeah.
So think about that with Daredevil. And yes, it is kind of goofy where he can feel the imprints of this paper.
Right.
But you're also talking about a guy that in the comics, when he concentrates, he can track down someone miles away just with their smell and hearing. That's why in some comics, the other guys come to him to track down. He's like their bloodhound. So I don't know. That's my defense of the character.
Yeah, I
read the books. You will really love them. You will really love them.
Because I've bought some of those Marvel Gallery Edition books in the last year, and I've been buying the colors from Jeff Loeb. Mm-hmm. And so I have Hulk Gray and Spider-Man Blue, and I do want to get Cap and Daredevil just finished the series. So it's on my list. I will read Born Again from Frank. Those are both on my list.
My recommendation, start with Jeff Loeb, Tim Sale, Yellow.
Yeah, that's
just start with
that. I recently watched, before Born Again came out, I watched the first 3 seasons of Daredevil. I'm watching Born Again. And I just finished the first season of The Punisher again, and I'm watching season 2. I love it.
Yeah.
I watched the honest trailer of the Daredevil show before Born Again. That was how I caught up. It was like 8 minutes, It's a good cross section.
Once Born Again's done, I'll binge it on a Saturday.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is our show. Thank you guys for listening. We will continue to do more of these Bat Fanatic Fridays, dropping in some YouTube Hangout episodes in between the proper reviews that we'll put on your audio stream. Of course, I'll drop a copy of this on the stream just so you guys can check it out. But if you want to support the show, drop us a comment here on YouTube, repost on social media at BatFanAddict on Instagram. I'll always share when we got a new episode. All of us are tagged in it. And those reposts really huge to us. And want to shout out again our friends over at Nerdcrawler for sponsoring the show here on the last half of season 4. And we got plenty more on the way, so stay tuned. We've got One Bad Day, Mr. Nope, that just came out. Fuck me. I'll just cut it already.
Drop your top 5.
Yeah, drop your top 5 in the comments.